Hello, good morning to you. Many thanks for joining us. You're watching Galaxy Today, coming to you from Galaxy Television, the first edition for this week. My name is Justin Akadanye. Of course, I'm not alone. I have the amiable, delectable Uche Onyekwoloje.
All right. Good morning. You already mentioned who I am. It's good to have you. And of course, it's Monday, like I said, the very first edition for today. And of course, we've been talking election, and I'm sure we're looking more into that today, right, Justin?
Yes, we will. The elections are just a few weeks, or let's say about a month, February 16th, Nigerians will be headed for the polls. And then accountant today will be looking at and ensuring towards credible and then peaceful polls. What with all the electioneering campaigns, ongoing, marketing and the marketing of candidates, we'll be talking about all of that. But seriously, right now, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, on Thursday inaugurated 2 ad hoc committees as part of its preparations for the forthcoming 2019 general elections. The 2 committees, Electoral Logistics and Collation Center, were inaugurated by the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, at the commission's headquarters. And a whole lot of reactions have actually, trailed that development, what with a lot of people saying that Amina Zakir should not be the one head and ad hoc committee for the collation center. So we'll be looking at all of those matters on the show today. But let's just give you a snippet of how it went down on Thursday, INEC, and of course reactions from the People's Democratic Party. And we'll introduce our guests here in Lagos, Abuja, and Ibadan to join us again.
Air Vice Marshal Ahmed Moazu, retired, Chairman. National Commissioner Engineer Abubakar Lahuche, Member. National Commissioner Malam Mohammed Haruna, Member. The Central Bank of Nigeria, Member. Nigeria Customs Service, Member. Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria, Member. Nigeria Immigration Service, Member. The Nigeria Police Force, Member. The Department of State Services, Member. The Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, Member. The Nigerian Army, Member. The Nigerian Navy, Member. The Nigerian Air Force, Member. Director, Electoral Operations and Logistics, Department of INEC, Member. Director, Estate Works and Transport, INEC, Member. Director, Procurement, INEC, Member. Director, Stores, INEC, Member and Secretary. I wish to reassure Nigerians that we are on course to deliver credible elections in 2019. Let me also seize this opportunity to confirm that the Commission will meet with the national leadership of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU. The purpose of the meeting is to discuss the ongoing strike by the union, but only in relation to our preparations for the election.
The right place, at the right time, and in the right quantity. And of course, guarantee the travel of same after the 2 elections. I want to also assure you that we appreciate and we are very clear in our minds the gravity of what is on our hands. Therefore, we shall hit the ground running. With the kind permission of the chairman, we will please request members of the Advisory Committee on Logistics to stay behind for a very short meeting before we disperse from this place. So once again, sir, we thank you very much for the honor you've done to us, giving us this weighty responsibility, and we assure you we shall discharge this responsibility with all sense of diligence. Thank you very much, sir, and I wish you success, sir.
Tell you that we have no confidence in INEC. We have no confidence in INEC. Very expressly, And you can tell by their actions in the last 3.5 years. I want you to recall that we started with inconclusiveness. That was the pattern. And when the outcry was becoming, and it was becoming embarrassing to them and for them, they took another style, in Edo. One thing I want to say to you, I will not talk about the past, I want to say that it is now a moral burden for a party and a president that came out of concession from a man who was in position to make it impossible at the time. Many Nigerians would not expect a Jonathan in the 21st century. Nigerians, Africans, will still say no, he will not concede. The man conceded honorably and said, my presidency is not worthy of the blood of any Nigerian. This government of APC truly is an inconclusive government that I have ever seen. You cannot see anything good in any INEC overseen by the current leadership of our country.
This February and March, we have a battle to fight. And it is the intellectual mind that can ever succeed in this kind of game that they are playing. Let me tell you, the APC has no agenda for campaign. They are just ready to rig the election. But for us as a formidable opposition, we must prepare ourselves for whatever antics, whatever game they want to play, because Nigeria is greater than everybody, and no party can take the destiny of Nigeria. Are you listening to me? Yeah. I expect some level of high discipline here. You're representing the best of the best, the cream de la cream of our party.
We're up against some set of people who are bent on rigging the election. They are bent on not allowing the wish of the people to prevail. So we have to also devise our own countermeasures. We can take one after the other. What are the challenges in there? We should devise our own countermeasure to go, to nullify whatever it is that they're trying to do.
All right, welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching Galaxy Today, coming to you from Galaxy Television. You just watched reports there where INEC inaugurated ad hoc committees and, of course, reactions from the opposition People's Democratic Party, specifically on having no confidence on the Independent National Electoral Commission and, of course, the emergence of Amina Zakari to head ad hoc committee on collation. All right, joining us here in Lagos to look at an ensuring credible polls in 2019, we have a legal practitioner who is also a public affairs analyst, Barrister Wale Fakwohunda. He's here in our Lagos studio, and of course, standing by in our Ibadan Center is Dr. Saka Balogo, a member of the PDP's Board of Trustees. Thanks for staying with us. Just to remind you that you can be a part of this conversation, feel free to interact with us on social media using the hashtag Galaxy Today, or if you have questions, comments, feel free to do so by sending SMSs. Remember, don't call, and it's an SMS only number. The number will be displayed shortly. Many thanks for joining us, Barrister Fakwohunda. I want to quickly get reactions. Good morning to you. I want to quickly get reactions because we are getting all sorts of information. The immediate past governor of Ekiti State, Ayodele Fayose, on Saturday alleged that Amina Zakari was forced on the Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, as the head of the Presidential Election Coalition Center at a secret meeting, in Abuja. What does all of this entail? Because Nigerians, are looking forward to the elections come February, but the People's Democratic Party has actually passed a vote of no confidence on INEC.
Okay, thank you very much. Two principal issues were closely tied to each other. The first one is the statement by the former Ekiti State Governor, Ayodele Fayose, that Amina Zakari was forced on INEC in a secret meeting. I think we have gotten to the point in this country where we need to consider the track record of people making public statements. And so if people in the past have made certain unfounded statements, unfounded allegations, have made certain flippant statements that are found not to be true, and that, which in the final analysis lower their estimation in the mind or in the sight of the right-thinking members of the society. And I think we need to get to the point that we need to take anything those kind of people say with a pinch of salt. Now, against that background, this is not the first time the former governor of Ekiti State has been making this kind of unfounded allegations. There was a time in this country that he said that the president was dead, that he had pictures of the president being a dead person. There was a time in this country that he said the first lady was wanted in America, you know, and all of these things were found to be were found out to be lies. And so why should we believe this kind of secret meetings that they are talking about? In any case, the basis upon this assertion is simply that there is the allegation that Amina Zakari is a relation to the president. Okay? Now, the woman has come out to say, I'm not related to Mr. President.
So where did all of that stem from?
Well, I don't know where they are getting their facts from. But if you are saying I'm related to someone and I'm saying I'm not related to the person, I don't think we should begin to make so much issue out of this. In any case, our appointment into INEC clearly precedes the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari. So she served in INEC under the former president, Goodluck Jonathan. So that was a PDP government. And I think I was trying to read her profile. She also signed as a personal assistant to one of the ex-presidents. I mean, I can't get that, you know, very clearly in terms of the fact. But the truth of the matter is this. Politicians should go and do what they know how to do best. They should do what they know how to do. Should go and campaign. Go and campaign. Stop spreading falsehood. Go and campaign. The PDP, I was telling someone, I can count the numbers of the posters of the presidential candidates of the PDP in Lagos State. We're not feeling them. They are not campaigning. Rather, you are spending quality time to spread rumors, to spread falsehood. Because, like I said earlier, the antecedent of these guys speak for them. So go and campaign. Come up with issue-based campaign. Let us know how you want to move this nation forward. You say you want to get the country working again. Let us understand how you want to get the country working again.
Okay? All right. Quickly, we'll take reactions. Let's talk to Dr. Saka Balogun, a member of the Board of Trustees of the People's Democratic Party. You have heard our guest here in Lagos, you know, as regards the appointment of Amina Zakari, plus the fact that the PDP should actually focus on campaigning. What's your reaction, exactly concerning this?
Thank you very much. I listened to the last speaker, and he's basing his contribution on certain assumptions. One, that former Governor Ayodele Fayose had said certain things in the past that were found to be untrue. And therefore, anything thereafter that he says must not be taken as established facts. That is a baseless and wrong assumption. Two, that because Amina Zakari Al-Hajia Amina Zakari had denied being a relation of the president should be taken as gospel truth, and that on the basis of those two assumptions, anything about Zakari in INEC should be dismissed. I think that is very shallow. Shallow because that Ayodele Fasoli said certain things in the fact that had not been proved to be right. Does not mean that he can never say the correct thing. I am not aware of any secret meeting. I'm not placed in a position to be able to monitor any secret meetings. But if I were the chairman of INEC, Yakubu, I would never have appointed, under any circumstance, Amina Zakari in such a sensitive position. It is not the fact of the situation that determines the attitude and reaction of people all the time. More is determined by this perception of people. Before now, there has been allegation about the relationship of Zakari and President Amina. The presidency did not deny any kind of relationship. What the presidency said, which I listened to, is that the relationship is just by intermarriage. And I studied the history of part of Fulani in Sokoto Caliphate for my PhD thesis. The Fulani people, by culture, marry their what Yoruba people will call close relations. I'm not saying that is the case with Amina Zakari. But the presidency, in its redaction, asserted that the type of relationship that exists between Amina Zakari and in the family, whatever relationship exists between Amina Zakari and the president is enough to disqualify her to occupy such a sensitive position in INEC. Look, I don't know how to put it in English, but Yoruba people say, let me try to translate. That if you are accused of being somebody is always a gap in his mouth, just opening the mouth all the time. Whether people even say it or see it or don't, you try as much as possible to close up all the time. There is another Yoruba adage. I think it's richer than English in this kind of situation, which says, tí wọ́n bá pè èèyàn lólè kì í máa gbé ẹran ẹlẹ́ran kó máa forí ẹ̀ ṣeré. If you have been identified as a thief, you don't ever move close to anything that be seen that is not yours, and you are toying with it. It is not. It's not. This coming election is a very crucial one, and that people who are connected with it in one way or the other should be very careful. We should not do anything that will put Nigeria on fire. Is Amina Zakari the only person in INEC? Is she the only national commissioner? Anything that can be even that can be seen as
of Amina's relationship with President Muhammadu Buhari. Okay, I want us to look at it from this point of view. Regardless of the relationship, are you saying that Amina is incompetent to handle such position? In your own opinion, though? I'm saying that regarding to your point of President Muhammadu Buhari and Amina Zakari having some form of, maybe they've been blood relatives, but are you saying that Amina Zakari is quite incompetent, or you're saying that if they actually share some kind of blood tie, she's not expected to handle such position? Or you're actually talking from the point of view that she can be incompetent, or she is incompetent for such position?
And we connect with Ibadan in the course of the show. We seem to be having a bit of connectivity issue. We still have Wale Fakbohunda with us here in Lagos. You know,
yes.
A lot of things have been said. He also alluded to many things through Proverbs. In as much as he tried breaking it down, I was a little bit confused there. But I still want to get your reactions based on what he has said so far.
Well, I think with all due respect to him, he's a Yoruba man and he's expected to be an elder. He used certain words that I think are found totally inelegant and totally inappropriate to the conversation that we're having. I use what was as making shallow conclusions or shallow statements. I'm a little disappointed in him, and then, you know, just for political expediency. You see, he's not a lawyer, and so maybe I should be able to give him a pocket lecture on this point. I don't know if he's a lawyer. There's what is called evidence of bad character in law. If we know that you have a consistent pattern of lying, if we know that you have a consistent pattern of having lost reputation in the past, if you know that you have a natural propensity to lie and cry blue murder in an enclosed amphitheater, then nobody, no right-thinking person in society is expected to take you serious. I have given instances of where former Governor Ayode Fayose has raised alarm in this country and were found to be untrue. And so isn't that sufficient for me to cast aspersion on your person that you are not somebody I'm supposed to believe? And so saying that because he had told lies in the past, and then we shouldn't wash what he's saying currently with cynical acid, I think that is totally being economical with the reality on ground. I did mention something about not putting the nation on fire. It is statement like this that is capable of setting the nation ablaze. The woman has come, is going about saying about, talking about stories of one Fulani people marrying themselves. That's not what we are talking about here. What we are talking about is this. Is she related to this man by virtue of our own understanding of the way relationship works in Africa? And the woman said no. So what are you talking about? So why are you trying to trace genealogy that doesn't exist here? And then you are trying to ask a question where the network did not allow us to get a reaction to that. I think the principal issue is she competent to handle this position? That should be what we are concerned about.
Okay, let's get them talk about the particular. They are back now.
Then there were certain Yoruba aphorisms, you know, that were stated. They are totally irrelevant and inapplicable to the situation at hand.
You talk about those as well, but let's try and get to them through another source. We still have Dr. Saka Balogun with us. Doctor, before we got disconnected, my colleague wanted to find out your assumption of, Zachary. Is it a thing of competence right now? Are you saying point blank categorically that she is not competent enough, by virtue of experience and all of that, to head that particular ad hoc committee, or he just based on assumption that she is related to the president?
Well, look, I don't know where we are joining up because there has been an interruption. What I said last that I can remember is that since Ajia Amina Zakari is not the only national commissioner in INEC, and since she has been a controversial figure, controversial in quote, because of this suspected relationship between her and the president, why don't you use somebody else? Why do you allow doubts to be cast on the process of the election? Because we say he's just in charge of the logistics. He's not really in charge of coalition. Why don't you remove all possible shades of doubt from this system, from this process, and give no room for anybody to complain after the results of the election must have been known. And of course, do you say that every Nigerian will trust INEC? At least after the last exercise, the electoral exercise in Osun, where I've had the chairman of INEC himself expressing some worries about detailed information that came particularly after the runoff. How do you allow anybody to doubt this process, this electoral process again, under any circumstance? We have so many people. We have all the facilities. We have the personnel. My own suggestion is that to remove every doubt from the mind of everybody, including politicians and non-politicians, this lady should not be put in any embarrassing situation. After INEC, she will still live her life. After INEC, Professor Yakubu will still be the academician that he is. And he should not allow anybody to cast any aspersion on his character, either now or in the future. So my suggestion is that, and that is based on the fact that there is a kind of relationship that the presidency has also attested to that. The relationship may be coming from intermarriage. It may not be a question of uncle and niece, but there is established relationship between the president and Amina Zakari, confirmed by the spokesman from the presidency. So for that reason alone, and for the doubt that has been cast on this process arising from this relationship, and because there are several other commissioners that can serve, and it's not the question of anybody being cowed down or being subjected to any unnecessary pressure. But if you are going to equity, you must go to equity with clean hands. If the mantra of objectivity, of integrity, of incorruptibility were the factors that really pushed President Buhari to this present position of the President of Nigeria, he should be more careful than anybody else, so that nothing is allowed to tarnish that image. Thank you very much. Anybody else?
State, at that, we've been speaking with Dr. Saka Balogun. He is a member of the Board of Trustees of the People's Democratic Party. He joined us from Ibadan, in Oyo State, to look at ensuring credible elections vis-a-vis the appointment of Amina Zakari as the chairman to head the ad hoc committee on collation. All right, Barrister Wale Fakunda will talk to us more before we go to Abuja.
Yes, I just want him to comment on what he said, saying that because of the existing relationship between Amina and PMB, that he, in his own opinion, feels that she shouldn't handle such position. But you seem to stand on the opposite side, saying that Amina could be competent for this, right?
You see, what I said was simple. Number one, the principal issue to determine whether she's qualified to hold this position should be her level of competence. That I rightly stated here that she had been in INEC even before the president became the president. Okay, so that is the principal issue. Now, that notwithstanding, there may be some kind of suspicion, you know, if it can be established that she enjoys certain blood relationship with the president. But you can see from what he's even saying, he's not even still sure. He said as a result of intermarriage, as a result of whatever relationship it is, that they are going to cast a shadow of doubt on the process. And the truth of the matter is this: doubt only exists in the minds of those that want to doubt.
Okay, but sorry to butt in there. Do you not think that this is going to pose as maybe not threat, but it's going to pose, it's going to work against the president for the coming election? Because if the I'm going somewhere, if the minds of people are channeled this way, that he has someone who shares a kind of blood tie with him in position, probably Brig or maybe.
I totally understand it, but that's what I'm saying. They are spreading falsehood. They are spreading falsehood. The woman came out. We're not getting things clearly. I don't know which of the aide of the president is also referring to. The woman came out and said, I am not related to the president. I'm sure you saw that item. And so what's he talking about? They are spreading falsehood. And I said that they are shouting fire in an enclosed amphitheater. He made also, I mean, you see, these people are just fond of coming up with aphorisms that do not even apply to the situation. He's not a lawyer. He's quoting Equitable maxim. He said, "He that one comes to equity must come with clean hands." How is that applicable here?
Okay, but let's look at...
So the truth of the matter...
She's got some controversial issues in the past.
The thing is that a lot of
what are the controversial issues? They are the politicians. They are the politicians. They should come and tell us what their programs are for Nigeria. They have not been doing that. They are crying blue mother. Come and tell us what your programs are. You said this government have not done enough. This government is saying, wait, hang on a sec, you guys were there for 16 years, and all you've done was to loot the economy dry. That you guys shared $383 billion. That there was a $3 billion strategic alliance contract that you three people shared. That's what they are saying to you. They say you've not done infrastructure, they are doing infrastructure. They say you've not diversified the economy, they are saying they are diversifying the economy, they are investing in agriculture, they are investing in mining. Those are the issues we want you to talk about. Don't talk about somebody
let us move.
And the woman has said, look, I'm not related to this man.
Okay, let us move to other issues. Let's talk about electioneering promises and all of that. I want you to react to this. You're talking about what the government should do, or what the politicians should do as per promises during their manifestos and campaign. But let's talk about one of the reports making round, accredited to the Minister of Transportation, that's Rotimi Amaechi, who should be the president's cabinet, talking about, I don't know, it was alleged that he said hunger and poverty is growing. The Nigerians are actually very hungry and poor under Buhari. He was quoted as saying in a secret tape. I want you to react to that.
Okay, I listened to that tape, over the weekend. And for me, at first, it was quite shocking that was going to come from the Minister of Transportation. More especially, this particular person has been at the forefront of infrastructural development, drive of this administration. So that coming from him was a little shocking and disappointing, okay? And so, but then again, we know the kind of country that we are in. People come up with all kinds of sinister motives and all of that. So that was what occupied the entire airwaves yesterday. But this morning when I woke up to read the news item, I saw that they are denied, and they are simply said that, look, what simply happened was that these people simply conjoined different statements that were being made by him in the past to put it together. And then they came, I was even reading somewhere, and then the full transcript of that particular recording was published on air. And the first thing that was said by Amaechi was simply that corruption has really eaten deep into the Nigerian society. That corruption has really, really eaten deep, and that just 3 years of Buhari, 3 years, people are already crying. People are not used to the fight against corruption. They're already crying. But some of those things were clearly edited from it, and then he said, look, they were just bringing in all kinds of statements that have been made in the past just to, make a complete audio.
So there was no iota of truth in it.
Of course, that's what he said. There was no iota of truth in it. I'm sure you've seen the one that was released by Tolu Ogunlesi this morning. Yeah. The full transcript of what was said. The opening statement was, look, there was that corruption has really eaten deep. I'm not quoting verbatim, but that was the essence, that corruption has eaten deep in Nigeria, and that's why everybody's crying today. That was what Tolu Ogunlesi said this morning. And so the opening statement in their own recording that says that, look, this thing must not get out. If it gets out, you're not going to sit down with me, was a different occasion. And so they just brought that in, and then match that with another one, and then Tolu Ogunlesi already also said that, look, some of those statements were even statements that were even made under the previous administration. We all know that Amechi was at loggerhead with the former president. And so they just merged everything together. You know, this is, yet again, I keep saying, this is not how to win an election.
But are Nigerians better off right now in terms of the hunger level and poverty level since the Buhari administration come into full stream?
You see, I think the last time I was on this program, we laid some of these issues bare.
Yes.
You know, and then we clearly stated that where we are, it was inevitable that we're going to get to where we are as it is now. Because we're making a lot of money from our monoproduct, from our monoproduct economy. We're making a lot of money at the time. It was also at that time that we're borrowing to pay salaries. This is not my word. This was what was said by the former Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy. We're borrowing to pay salaries. And she actually projected that we're going to have issues in 2015. She said it. And so I don't think we should be overflogging this issue. We knew where we're going to get to when these people were stealing the economy dry. I just mentioned strategic alliance contract. These are necessary implications, necessary consequences of looting the economy dry. But what has this government done? This government said, you know what, we're going to start from the basis. There is nothing we can do about it. Imagine for once, a government that was selling crude oil when they came in at about $28 per barrel. Cost of production at that time was $25 per barrel. There was blowing of oil pipelines in the Niger Delta by the Niger Delta Avengers. We were not producing at the optimal as regarding the quota that OPEC said we should produce on a daily basis. So how are we going to boost the economy? How are we going to make money to reflect the economy in that instance? So those are the issues. But you will agree with me. You see, because I love us to take stock. I love us to take stock. You are a lady. You are a family woman. How much was tomatoes the last time? A basket of tomatoes. How much was it? Because I drop money at home, so I get, yeah, of course. So I get to feel the impact as well. The basket of tomato has come down drastically to about 6,000, 7,000 naira. So what are we talking about? So we're beginning to see the impact gradually. We're beginning to see the impacts of the various intervention in agricultural initiatives by the government. The various anchor borrower schemes, we are beginning to see the impact. Okay. How much is rice now? A bag of rice. How much was it when we were importing? How much is it now?
All right, we'll still continue with you, sir. Let's just head down to Abuja, where we have Kasme Igwe, a legal practitioner. Good morning and welcome to Galaxy Today. We're actually looking at achieving incredible polls, and we've been citing issues that could lead in having credible polls. I'd like to hear your opinion concerning elections 2019 and how it can be so credible without issues. Let's hear your opinion, sir.
Good morning to you and to Nigerians. Thank you for having me this morning, and Happy New Year. I want to start by saying that some of these issues that are being thrown up are issues that shouldn't even be discussed in the first place if institutions are working in this country. And maybe as a piece of advice, when guests come in, you don't let them drag you off the focus of the discussion. I think the issue this morning is how to achieve credible election in Nigeria, vis-a-vis all the other issues that have filled the airwaves. First and foremost, for you to achieve credible election, as you said, there must be credibility. That election must be free and fair. There must be transparency to the extent that even non-politicians will see that the election monitoring body, organizing body, like we have the INEC, have done all they need to do, that will culminate into the results that will be published. It might not be 100% perfect, but at least every reasonable person will see that efforts have been made to ensure that the election is both credible, free, and fair. Again, you must take away every element of bias. And this comes mainly by perception. I get a bit irritated when people make certain assertions and sending Nigerians to do the job of the police. When issues come up, they're asking you of your facts. Have you found out? Have you done this? I don't think it's right. And that also shows the level of patriotism by our politicians and their supporters. Yes, politics is a game of interest, but the number one interest all of us have is Nigeria and not the political parties. So I think we should elevate our interest to national interest and do that which will not spell doom to both the nation and to the younger generation. We must leave legacies. Now we are talking about the issue of appointment of Amina Zakari. Should we even discuss this issue? Once there's likelihood of bias, once there's element of facts that will point to not making the election credible, what do you need to do? Is there any special is there anything special that Amina Zakari is bringing to the table, becoming the chairperson of the Committee on National Coalition? I don't think so. And you hear folks who ought to know, people who ought to, know what it is to get these things done. What do you hear from them? She's competent, which means you're passing vote of no confidence, on all other national commissioners. I don't think it's right. We're not doing this country any good. In fact, it's a great disservice. If there is any alter of relationship, and what is a relationship? In as much as personally I don't have anything with Amina Zakari, I don't have anything against INEC, but for the mere fact like that this is a very sensitive and contentious election, we should do everything possible to eliminate all forms of bias or likelihood. We should do everything to ensure that the election is both free, fair, transparent, and credible. And how do you ensure that? If the opposition have raised this issue, it means that there's a perception problem. Good enough, there has been retractions. And again, that is where I have issues with INEC. I found it a bit disturbing that INEC chairman will come up to defend such a thing. It's not in his place, and it's not right. Amina Zakari herself granted an interview denying her relationship with Mr. President. That is also not necessary. The presidency came up and said there's no blood relationship, maybe in reaction to the issue raised by PDP of Amina Zakari being the niece of Mr. President. But from every available information, there is a relationship, either by marriage or otherwise. It could even be mere friendship. Once that is established, what do you do? For the credibility of what is happening and even for the integrity of the person of Amina Zakari and INEC, on her own should have voluntarily stepped aside if that is the sacrifice that will grant the opposition the confidence to move into this election. At the end of the day, what would they lose? Nigeria will be the ultimate beneficiary of all of these things. Why insisting as if there's no other person in INEC that can do that? Issue of logistics can be provided by anybody at all from the commission. Or what do? You swap and make sure that having placed this kind of allegation on this woman, let's just keep her in areas that will not bring about any issue. Also, don't forget that Amina Zakari's name came up after the announcement of the 2015 presidential election, where this issue of relationship with Mr. President came up. Nobody said anything. Now, it came up again in Rivers election. It seems we forget history so easily. Now it's coming up again. Yes, when she acted as the acting national chairman, you also saw what happened. Good enough, Mr. President appointed someone who took over. But for you to keep on raising this point that she's the most experienced, she's this, she's that, means that she has become a god in INEC. So if that is the case, redeploy her. Her assignment or appointment as National Commissioner is not tied to this office. It's an ad hoc thing. So why would we sacrifice our election just because of these primordial sentiments? So for me, I think that we have to do everything possible, to insulate the institutions from politics. And the institutions, on the other hand, should do everything possible to live above board. For us in the courtrooms, we know what it is, where there is likelihood of bias on the part of the adjudicator. People apply that Iberias and they don't take it as an offense or anything. So I should think that we should begin to elevate Nigeria to the point that national interest becomes our watchword in Nigeria and not partisan politics. And that is also where I think that INEC should, sit up and look at the complaints or allegations of the opposition. Even if there is nothing, INEC will lose nothing to say, okay, madam, please step aside based on XYZ. But if they don't do it, it means they've taken side, especially where their defense came after the president's special assistant or special advisor, Shehu Garba, in denying that, but still leaving a line that the relationship was by intermarriage. What is then a relationship? There are also other facts that even Mr. President at some point lived in that, in Amina Zakari's father's house. So what are we talking about? If there is that kind of relationship, why are we wasting our time? In other climes where things are working, even as a friend, at times when you just sit down, over a bottle of beer, it can deny somebody of a very sensitive office. How much more where all of these facts, have emerged? So I don't think that all this defense, will help us. That Mr. President comes from Katsina and Amina Zakari is from Jigawa is a non-issue. I am here and I have cousins in Oyo State.
All right, thank you, Kasmia. Well, for sake of time, we appreciate all of your comments. Kasmia Igwe is a legal practitioner, and categorically he's saying that the Amina Zakari, the head of the Collation Center, the ad hoc committee, should actually step aside and let other people do the job. Okay, let's just take, before Barrister Fakunda react, let's just take comment from our viewers so we can move on. Let all those political parties tell us what they have for us. They should leave this woman alone. That's Olowoni Adetunji from Ibadan. This administration should stop deceiving Nigerians. Nothing has worked well in this government. I only care that Nigeria doesn't have another party to replace these two political parties. All right, I think the APC administration should stop blaming the PDP for their failure. There was a decayed economy even since Obasanjo's regime. Remember, those who have excuses for their failure will never succeed. Okay. Good morning, sir. Ma Wale, you made a statement that the price of basket of tomato is 6,000 or 7,000 naira. Sir, with due respect, that is not true. Yes, we want a free and fair election. The fight is not with APC and PDP, sir. It is with the old Nigerians and the new Nigerians. With all your speech so far, you are taking sides with the PDP. Well, this one says, I'm very sorry for this country. The opposition party should concentrate on campaign and not criticism. All right. Good morning, Mr. Presenter. We don't need all these allegations from the PDP. Election is around the corner. PDP should let us know what they have for Nigerians for us to decide who to vote. All right, because we don't know their agenda for coming up with different controversy from ID Just. Okay, for time's sake now, let's just wrap this all up. I just want you to just make a conclusive statement concerning what Kasmia Igwe said and of course some of the reactions we got from home.
Okay, yeah. For Mr. Kasmia, I think he already made up his mind as to where he wants to pitch his tent in this argument. In as much as he tried to be disinterested in the politics of all of this thing, he gave himself up, by simply saying that once that allegations comes up, then she just needs to voluntarily say, I'm not doing it again. And that you also said that INEC need not even respond to the allegation. She herself needs not respond. Once they just say, you are related to the president, oh, because you are saying I'm related to the president, I'm not going to do. I find that extremely artificial. You see, you need to understand the way these politicians operate. They cry blue mother. They just come and bring up something just to create a controversy. On a very lighter note, this woman that you are talking about, you are saying is related to President Muhammadu Buhari, right? Which Buhari are you talking about? Is it the Buhari that you are telling us that is dead and that what we have here is Jubri? You are saying the man in Aso Rock is Jubri from Sudan. So is she related to the Jubri from Sudan or to the real president? You need to understand these politicians. They just come and just create unnecessary controversy in the polity. And that's why we are saying go and campaign. If you have done something in your 16 years that deserves this country to bring you back, regardless of who is occupying whatever, you are sure to coast home to victory. There are a lot of internal mechanisms in the Electoral Act that have checked rigging, that have checked manipulation of figures, that have checked figure jogging in the election. Concentrate on issue-based campaign. Stop saying, because this person is this, because of that, she should not. I can tell you for free. You guess what? If the president say, okay, because of this noise, I'm going to remove her. Tomorrow, before 48 hours, PDP is going to come up with another thing. And that is what we are going to keep talking about.
But ideally, if there are doubts and shadows of doubt and being cast and raised by Nigerians, opposition, civil society, and all of that, what should be the right thing, for the presidency or for INEC to do?
The question is the doubts you're talking about. Are they founded? Are they just out of ulterior political motives? Are they founded? That's the point. That's what we should be talking about. I said it here. The person that is saying they had a meeting somewhere said he was beating his chest that he has pictures of the dead president. That the wife of the president cannot go to America. That is very sure. So if, at that time, we are now saying the president or the wife of the president at the point in time should conduct themselves in a way to conform to that agitation, and it was found out to be false, are we not going to be blaming ourselves now?
Okay.
The truth of the matter is this. The woman said, I'm not related to them. I think that should be
on the
case.
final note right now, let's just wrap it all up. Achieve incredible polls with INEC and with the electorate, with the monitors and everyone, every stakeholder. What exactly do we need to do? February 16 is just around the corner. What would you just say in 30 seconds that can just cap it all up?
Oh, well, I think Nigerians should, the first responsibility we owe ourselves is to conduct ourselves in an orderly manner. Election is coming. We should listen to issue-based campaign, not unnecessary propaganda and fake news and rumors, and statements capable of setting the nation ablaze. We should ask questions, and I thank God for some of those people that commented. The real question is this: what are you going to do for us when you come in? We need to have that conversation. Tell us about the allegations of monies that they say you stole. Strategic Alliance contract, 3 billion. Where is the money? You spent $16 billion on power. Where is the power? Those are the questions we should be asking them. Don't begin to tell me somebody is related to somebody by intermarriage or whatever. That's not what I'm talking about. So, and that is very critical to our survival in Nigeria. That's very critical to the survival of this nation.
Okay,
Thank you. Thank you so much. We must leave it at that. And a lot of comments, a lot of reactions are still trailing our discussion this morning. But let us keep it, flowing on social media. Remember the hashtag is Galaxy Today, and just react. Let's talk about all of the issues as we head for the polls come February 16, 2019. Our guest here in Lagos has been Wale Fakbuhunda. He is a legal practitioner and a public affairs analyst. We also had Dr. Sakapa Logo, a member of the Board of Trustees of the People's Democratic Party, who joined us from Oyo State, specifically in Ibadan. And as well as Kasme Igwe, legal practitioner from Abuja. We'll do this same time again tomorrow at 10. I am Uche Onyekuche. Bye for now. And I'm Justin Akadane. Join us tomorrow. We'll be looking at something equally topical and very interesting. Bye for now.